Well, welcome to the Capitol for the investiture of our next Attorney General. We have a delightful program here today, and to start it off, I'd like to introduce to you someone who knows quite a bit about firsts, Governor Barbara Roberts.
Thank you, and thank you, Governor. Well, what I'd like to do for just a moment or two today is to set today's ceremony and this celebration in a little historical context. Two pieces of history are quite clear today. This is the centennial year of Oregon women getting the right to vote in 1912. And clearly, we will hear many times today with Governor Kitzhaber's appointment of Ellen Rosenblum, our state has gained the very first woman Attorney General in 150 years of Oregon history. But I'd like to take just a minute to set this historical first for Oregon on a calendar of our state's women and political firsts. In 1976, Norma Paulus was elected Oregon's first female Secretary of State. In 1978, Mary Wendy Roberts was elected as our state's first woman labor commissioner. In 1982, Betty Roberts became Oregon's first woman Supreme Court justice. In 1985, Vera Katz became the first female Speaker of the House in Oregon. In 1990, I was honored to be elected Oregon's first woman governor. But in that same year, in 1990, Norma Paulus made another piece of history, her second, by becoming our state's first female superintendent of public instruction. And today, after a long wait, 22 years, we have finally added another political first for women to our state's history books. Attorney General Rosenblum, in a few minutes, has a long and strong history in several legal positions, but today she will accomplish two other important things. She will become the first Oregon appellate judge to move from that court bench to the office of Attorney General, and she will make history, of course, as our first woman AG. I have both enthusiasm and faith in her abilities and in her dedication as she steps forward in this new and important role. In 1993, I had the honor of appointing Ellen to the Multnomah County Circuit Court bench. In 2012, this year, I enthusiastically gave her my endorsement in her race for Attorney General. And today, I'll be able to extend my congratulations and best wishes to Oregon's newest history maker.
Thank you very much, Governor. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Justice Linder of the Oregon Supreme Court.
It's, of course, my deep professional and personal pleasure to be here to see Ellen get sworn in as Oregon's Attorney General and to say a few words. Ellen and I worked together on the Court of Appeals, but only for about 2 years. Still, I've known Ellen much longer, both personally and before that, by reputation. With Ellen, what you see is what you get. And what you see and what you get is a smart, excellent lawyer with boundless energy and enthusiasm, unimpeachable integrity and ethics, and tireless dedication to public service, all of which will serve Ellen well as Oregon's Attorney General. I was an attorney in DOJ for 17 years before I became a judge. I worked with 5 attorneys general, both Republicans and Democrats, each with different styles and personalities, but all cultivated the best traditions of the office, just as Ellen will, such as making sure that although the position of Attorney General is partisan, The legal services delivered by the AG's office never are. And fostering a culture where the staff can have full careers of professional growth, development, challenge, and satisfaction, so that DOJ is not just a jumping-off point, but a place where the staff can develop the depth and the experience that so well serves the state and its citizens, and where the AG is hands-on and a role model. Ellen, I know, will personally set a tone of professionalism, transparency, accessibility, and respect, because that's her style, and because that's what an office of public trust demands. But Ellen is also breaking convention in a significant way. Many women in this room have broken glass ceilings. Ellen breaks another one today. She is, as Governor Roberts has discussed, the first woman in Oregon history to be our state's Attorney General. Thinking about that took me back to a speech I gave in 1997 to a group of women law students about who to look for guidance in their careers and who had guided me in mine. In my then 17 years as a lawyer, women mentors and leaders had been few and far between. Just months before that speech, I had met my first woman AG from another state, Christine Gregoire from the state of Washington. I was helping moot court a case that the office was to argue in the U.S. Supreme Court. Gregoire's schedule was too busy for her to personally argue the case, but she was second chairing it. During the moot court, she sat quietly, taking notes, which is what a second chair does. Afterwards, we talked about the argument. Here's what I told those women law students about that experience. The moot court was a treat, but the real fun began after it was over. At that point, we went into the court's conference room where we debriefed, debated, and discussed the issues for over 2.5 hours. Christine Gregoire came to life. She was bright, savvy, passionate, and engaged. She had heart and a deep sense of good public policy. She was someone who I quickly admired, and she was something more. She was the Attorney General. I delighted in being in the presence of this lawyer with deep and thoughtful public law instincts, with a clear bent for leadership. I was ready to go to work for her on the spot. In all of my 17 years in DOJ, I had not even had a single woman supervisor, and certainly no woman at the helm, no woman AG. The significance of a woman in that position, with that level of competence, was powerful and tangible to me. It offered a dimension to mentorship I had never known. That was 15 years ago. Today has been a long time in coming. Today, with Ellen's appointment, Oregon has its own bright, savvy, passionate, and engaged woman at the helm of the Attorney General's office. Today is a day of enduring traditions, revitalized and made new. And today, Ellen, Betty would be so proud. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jenny. Now we have Professor Peter Rosenblum, perhaps a relative, from the Columbia School of Law. Peter, welcome to Oregon.
Thank you, Governor. And thank you to all for having me here. Thank you to Ellen for making this possible. In some way, I represent the sprawling Rosenblum family. And first, I'd like to thank Governor Roberts for having recognized the dual pronunciations, because there is still some debate in the family as to where we fit between the Rosenblums and the Rosenblums, and you're really entitled to find yourself anywhere within that spectrum. So there's much vogue in analyzing family order and where you fit and who you are, but things get very complicated when you come from a family of 8. The variables start to overwhelm any predictability. And there's a certain amount of chaos in the entire process. Ellen was number 2. And strangely, we realized as time went out, she emerged with a sense of order, of regularity, of a certain rationality out of a crowd that didn't demonstrate that on a regular basis. We learned later in life that she had taken this to even further extremes. I remember visiting her and hearing from one of her colleagues here in Oregon that when Ellen changes hairdressers, which she does very rarely, out of a sense of responsibility, she sends a message to the one that she's leaving explaining what she's doing and why. Now, there were certain sacred things in our family, and it's a little bit odd, I think, when you think about it, because what was sacred was the Constitution, the synagogue, and a vision of the state that could bring about equality, that could help the marginalized, that could lead to progress. Our parents, first and second generation immigrants, were babies of the Depression and children of the New Deal, and they lived that and live it still today. My mother, though our father passed away a few years ago. And our father was a constitutional lawyer, a political scientist, and a specialist in administrative law, which is something that most of us who have gone to law school try to avoid at all cost. But you know what goes on in administrative law and in the mind of a passionate administrative lawyer? It's attention to accountability, to responsibility, to thinking hard about how, within the terms of our separation of powers, we achieve the goals of bettering the state. And along with it, the deference to responsibility, to political authority, and the willingness to assert the values of the Constitution figure in that process. And that's something that was part of our bread and butter. It was a feature of the dining room table, and something that Ellen embodies, whether it's in her relations with her hairdresser, her relations with her colleagues and family, or in the ways that she's dealt in her legal career. And so it's really, I think, a story for us, a great story of the family values reflected so beautifully in the state of Oregon, her adopted state, the state that my father as well loved so dearly, and really offers the possibility of achieving these goals that are so often otherwise forgotten. So thank you very much, and I look forward with you watching this great new Attorney General.
Well, thank you. I am going to come down solidly on the side of Rosenblum, being a phonetic speller. So if you object to being sworn in under that pronunciation, now I'm going to be very, very brief. It is really an honor to be able to participate in the investiture of our first woman Attorney General, but I also think it's important to be clear that I didn't appoint her to this position because she was a woman, but because she is clearly the most qualified person to be Oregon's top lawyer. She has a remarkable career of public service. She served as a private attorney in Eugene, as a public attorney, as the assistant U.S. attorney, 22 years on the bench, both the trial court and the appellate court, a position to which she brought abundant integrity and a deep respect for the law. Throughout her career, she has been a fierce advocate in terms of access to justice, to the disenfranchised, to minorities, to women, to the poor. And I know that she is going to make remarkable contributions to the Department of Justice and to the state of Oregon, and be a strong advocate for each and every one of us. So with that, if you would join me in front of the podium, we will make this official. If you'd raise your right hand. I, Ellen Rosenblum.
I, Ellen Rosenblum. I said Bloom.
I have to have a judge rule on it. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will uphold the Constitution of the United States.
That I will uphold the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Oregon.
And the Constitution of the State of Oregon.
And fulfill the responsibilities.
And fulfill the responsibilities.
Of the Attorney General of the State of Oregon.
Of the Attorney General of the State of Oregon.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
giving me the proper instructions.
Super.
Okay.
Is the ink dry? Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to present to you Oregon's Attorney General, our Attorney General, the first woman Attorney General, Ellen Rosenblum.
Thank you so much. That was my daughter, Kate, by the way, who just handed me these beautiful flowers. And I want to thank her for being here, and the Oregon Health Sciences University Medical School for letting her get out of class early to be here. Thank you, Governor, for your kind words. I'm grateful for the trust you've placed in me by this appointment. I also want to thank John Kroger for his service to our state. Governor Roberts, Justice Linder, and Peter, thank you so much for your kind and generous remarks. Now, you'll notice that Peter went before me. There was at one point a suggestion he would go after me, and I said, no, I need rebuttal, just in case. But as you can see, it's not necessary. He is amazing, just like all the rest of my siblings, and my brother John is over here taking pictures. They are the two other lawyers in the family. So thank you so much to both of them for being here from New York and Wisconsin. Thank you, General and Judge Redden. Judge Redden is a former Attorney General of the state of Oregon, who is also a dear friend, and before whom I appeared when I was in the United States Attorney's Office many times. And he has served with distinction the state for so many years, and I'm so honored by your being here today. Thank you so much, General Redden. And I also want to, it's a little dangerous to call out particular individuals, but Judge Levy is also here, a dear mentor, before whom I appeared in Lane County Circuit Court when I first started practicing, and then later, of course, when I was in the U.S. Attorney's Office, and we've been dear friends for many years, and I'm so honored by you being here. And I also want to thank Justice Lindy, who knew my dad well, and also my husband knows my husband's dad. And so it was because of Justice Lindy, really, that both Richard and I think, met and went to the University of Oregon Law School. We knew that it was a great school because you were there, and it had to be, and it was. So thank you, Justice Lindy, for being here. And so forgive me for not calling out all the other judges and public officials who are here today, because it would take all my time. But I do want to thank Judge Richard Goodwin, who's here from California. If you could just raise your hand, because he is the chair of the Judicial Division of the American Bar Association, and he's here on behalf of the ABA today. And I really appreciate you coming up from California with your wife to be here with me today. Thank you, Judge. Back in January, when I filed to run for this office, I began with a promise to Oregonians, a promise to be the people's Attorney General, to be a strong advocate for Oregon families, children, seniors, and all our state's most vulnerable citizens, to protect consumers and make sure Oregon's businesses get a fair shake as well. Today, I stand before you, prepared to do everything in my power to make good on that promise. As we all know, these have been tough times for Oregonians. The Oregon Department of Justice exists in large part to advocate for and to protect our citizens. The people working in this office are genuine public servants and understand this role. So I feel truly honored to be joining them officially in this important cause. Of course, one of the benefits of this early appointment is that I get to become the first woman to serve as Attorney General during this special 100th year celebration of suffrage in Oregon. And it is humbling to join the ranks of women leaders, the great women leaders in our state, many of whom are in this room. And again, I would love to call out each and every one of you, but I'm going to focus on the ones that are truly the pioneers in this room. Barbara Roberts, thank you so much. And Ginny Linder, thank you so much, because you have blazed the trail, as have so many others in this room, and we couldn't have done it without you. So thank you for being here and for being speakers on this important day to me. We owe you a huge debt for your courage, for your leadership, and for your service. I've spent the last 36 years preparing for this job as an attorney, a prosecutor, and a judge here in Oregon, as the governor said. So I'm pretty sure I'm ready to take this on and to hit the ground running. And now I look forward to building a strong relationship with Governor Kitzhaber and our state and local leaders. As Attorney General, I will lead the Department of Justice so that Oregon's interests are represented at the highest level of ethics, professionalism, and devotion to public service. The department will be a voice for Oregonians, protecting our most vulnerable citizens. I look forward to working with law enforcement to keep our children and our communities safe. We will provide the highest quality and trustworthy advice and counsel to our government agencies and other clients. I promise the people of Oregon to hear your concerns, to work with you on what matters most in your lives, and to provide the advocacy and the protection that will help all of our citizens flourish. Sorry. I've started the job by getting to know my office, by meeting with our division leaders, our DAs, our legislators, our clients, the state agencies, as well as media, business, and community leaders from all across the state. I've already visited our children and family-related offices in Bend, in Eugene, and in Pendleton, and I look forward to getting around to all of our branches over the next few months. And as to all of you, I love our state, and I can't tell you how honored I am to have this opportunity to continue to serve the people of Oregon. I'm pleased as well to share this moment with each of you, my friends, my colleagues, and my family. All of you have played important roles in my life and helped make history today. Now there's much work to be done, and as one of my former clients, Ken Kesey, is reputed to have said, you're either on the bus or off the bus. All of us here are on that bus, committed to and fully capable of improving the lives of the people we serve, and I can't wait to start playing my part. So thank you from the very depths of my being.
All right. Now the mixture begins.